Money is one of the greatest causes of stress in our generation. Families are torn apart not because they don't love each other, but because bills keep piling up. Marriages collapse not because of lack of affection, but because financial strain becomes unbearable. Every day, millions wake up with the same thought: how will I make it through this month? But I came to tell you something. This was never God's intention for your life. You were not created to live in anxiety, running from debt collectors, or living paycheck to paycheck. You were designed for abundance, peace, and provision. Wealth is not about greed. It is about freedom. Freedom to focus on your purpose without being enslaved by unpaid bills. Freedom to bless your children with opportunities you never had. Freedom to give generously without fear of lack. When you understand wealth as freedom, everything changes. In this teaching, I will reveal to you 8 secrets to attract wealth and destroy money stress for good. These are not get-rich, quick tricks. These are timeless principles that have worked for centuries. If you apply them, your financial story will change, not because of luck, but because you've aligned yourself with laws that govern prosperity. The first battlefield of wealth is not in your bank account, it is in your mind. Poverty is not the absence of money, it is the absence of the right mindset. You can take all the money from a wealthy thinker and they will rebuild wealth again. But you can give millions to a person with a poverty mindset and they will lose it in months. The reason so many remain trapped in money stress is because they believe money is evil. They've been taught that rich people are selfish, greedy, and corrupt. They've been conditioned to think that desiring wealth is wrong. But listen carefully, money is not evil. The love of money is. Money is neutral. It takes on the character of the one who controls it. In the hands of a selfish person, it becomes a tool for oppression. But in the hands of a righteous person, it becomes a weapon against poverty, ignorance, and suffering. Let me give you an example. There was a man who grew up in poverty, raised in a neighborhood where no one believed they could succeed. Everyone thought wealth was only for the elite or the corrupt. But this man decided to change the way he thought. Instead of asking, "Why are we poor?" he began asking, "How can I create value?" That shift changed everything. Today, he owns multiple businesses and employs hundreds. His family never knew freedom, but he renewed his mind and broke the cycle. Data supports this too. Studies show that lottery winners, ordinary people who suddenly become millionaires, lose their wealth within 5 years on average. Why? Because their mind never shifted from poverty thinking. They received wealth, but they didn't have the mindset to sustain it. You cannot attract wealth if deep inside you believe it is wrong to have it. You cannot destroy money stress if your mind tells you that abundance is not your portion. That is why the first step to freedom is this: renew your mind about money. Here's a practical exercise for you. Write down every negative belief you've ever heard about money. Money is evil. Rich people are greedy. I'll never be rich. Then write the truth next to it. Money is a tool. Wealthy people can be generous. I have the ability to create wealth. When you shift your mindset, you open the door for new possibilities. Wealth starts inside, not outside. I want you to remember this. You will never rise above the level of your own thinking. If you think small, you live small. If you think abundance, you attract abundance. The secret is not more hours of labor. It is renewing the mind that drives your labor. Wealth is not hiding in a paycheck. It is not locked away in the vault of a bank. It is not something reserved for a select few. Wealth is buried inside of you, in the form of a gift. Every human being is born with a unique gift, a talent, or an ability that has the power to create wealth. You are not sent into this world empty-handed. You came with a deposit from heaven, something that makes you different from anyone else. The tragedy is not that people are poor. The tragedy is that most people never discover their gift and even fewer maximize it. Think about it. Fruit trees never worry about money. Why? Because their gift, the fruit, attracts provision. Birds never go to school for hunting lessons, yet they always eat. Why? Because their gift, their wings and instinct provides. You and I are no different. Your gift is designed to attract wealth when you use it. The problem is many of us bury our gift. We spend our lives working jobs we hate, chasing money instead of chasing purpose. But here is the truth. Your job may give you a salary, but your gift can give you wealth. Salaries make you live. Gifts make you wealthy. Let me illustrate with a story. There was a woman who loved to bake. She started by making simple cakes for her children's birthdays. Friends began to notice and asked her to bake for them. For years she thought, this is just a hobby. But one day she decided to take it seriously. She invested in her craft, branded her skill, and opened a small bakery. That small bakery grew into a chain of stores. Today she employs dozens and lives a life of freedom. What changed? She discovered and maximized her gift. Here's the key. Gifts create room for you in places money cannot. A singer may come from the poorest background, but when they release their gift, they draw crowds and opportunities. An inventor may have no money, but their gift can create products that change the world. This is why some of the wealthiest people today didn't start with money. They started with a gift. Take Steve Jobs, for example. He didn't inherit billions. He simply had a gift for design and vision in technology. That gift birthed Apple, one of the most valuable companies in the world. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty, yet her gift of communication created an empire that inspired millions. Neither of them chased money. They maximized their gifts, and wealth followed. Now someone may ask, but what if I don't know my gift? The answer is simple. Your gift is usually the thing that comes naturally to you, the thing others notice in you, or the thing you would do even if no one paid you. It could be teaching, organizing, designing, cooking, fixing things, writing, leading, encouraging, or innovating. Your gift is often disguised as something ordinary to you, but extraordinary to others. The danger of ignoring your gift is this. You will spend your whole life building someone else's dream while your own potential remains buried. Stress multiplies when you trade time for money in a job you hate. But joy and provision overflow when you trade your gift for value in the marketplace. Here's a practical step for you. Write down the activities that make you feel alive. Ask friends or mentors what they think you do better than most. Look for areas where people already ask you for help or advice. Once you discover it, invest in it. Train yourself, sharpen your skills. Excellence attracts wealth. A mediocre gift will be ignored, but a refined gift will be celebrated. Remember this, your gift is your key to financial freedom. The world doesn't pay you for existing. It pays you for solving problems. Your gift is the solution you carry, and when you offer it to the world with excellence, wealth will chase you instead of you chasing money. So stop hiding it. Stop undervaluing it. Stop calling it just a hobby. Your gift is your pathway out of money stress. When you discover and maximize it, you'll realize that the seed of wealth was in you all along. One of the greatest causes of money stress is depending on only one source of income. When your entire life depends on a single paycheck, you are one crisis away from disaster. If the company closes, if the economy shifts, if your health fails, the entire flow of provision dries up. That is not freedom, that is financial slavery. Wealthy people understand a secret. Never rely on one stream when you can build many. In fact, studies have shown that the average millionaire has at least 7 different streams of income. This doesn't mean they work 7 jobs. It means they have created multiple channels through which wealth flows to them. Think of it like a river system. A river that depends on one stream can dry up in the summer heat. But a river with many streams flowing into it never runs dry. That is the difference between financial stress and financial peace. Let's take a practical example. Imagine a man who works as a teacher. If his only income comes from his salary, he is limited by that paycheck. But what if he starts tutoring on weekends? What if he writes a simple e-book on teaching methods and sells it online? What if he invests a small amount into stocks or real estate? Suddenly, he is no longer dependent on just one salary. He has multiple streams feeding his financial river. This is how wealthy people think. They don't just work for money, they make money work for them. They build businesses, they invest in real estate, they create intellectual property, they start side ventures, they invest in stocks or even small partnerships. Every stream may not be huge at first, but over time they grow into rivers. Now, let's be clear. Creating multiple streams does not mean chasing every shiny opportunity. That will exhaust you. It means being strategic. Build one strong stream first, then gradually expand. For example, many people start with their job as one stream. Then they use that income to invest in real estate or to start a small side business. Later, they might add investments in stocks or bonds, or develop digital products. Here's an inspiring story. A young woman in Africa worked as a nurse. Her salary was barely enough to cover her bills, but she had a passion for making organic skincare products. She started small, making lotions for friends. With time, she branded her products and began selling them at local markets. Soon, she was making more from her side business than from her nursing job. Later, she invested her profits into a rental property. Today, she has 3 streams of income: nursing, skincare products, and rental income. Her financial stress is gone because she no longer depends on just one paycheck. You see, multiple streams don't just give you money, they give you security, they give you peace of mind, they allow you to take risks without fear. They free you from being trapped in one place. Another key point: some streams are active and some are passive. Active income comes from your labor. You trade time for money, like in a job or service. Passive income is money that flows even when you sleep, like royalties, rent, or investments. The goal is to gradually shift from active to passive so that your money works harder than you do. Let's look at the digital age we live in. Today, opportunities for multiple streams are greater than ever. You can create digital courses, start an online business, rent out a spare room, design and sell products online, or even invest in micro-businesses. You don't need millions to start. You just need wisdom, consistency, and discipline. Here's a simple action plan. Identify your current stream of income. Ask yourself, what small stream can I add without overwhelming myself? Use part of your current income to invest in assets that can produce another stream. Never despise small beginnings. A small stream today can become a mighty river tomorrow. What matters is that you start building more than one. I want you to remember this. If you have only one stream of income, you don't have an income. You have a risk. But when you create multiple streams, you build financial resilience. You destroy the fear of lack. You step into abundance that flows from every direction. Wealthy people sleep in peace because even if one stream dries up, others continue to flow. That is the wisdom of financial security. So stop depending on one paycheck. Stop placing your future in the hands of a single employer. Begin to think like a river, not a pond. Create multiple streams of income and watch how money stress becomes a thing of the past. Wealth is not only about how much money you make. It is about how much you can manage, multiply, and sustain. Many people think their problem is lack of money, but the truth is, their real problem is lack of discipline. Without discipline, even great income turns into poverty. With discipline, even small income can grow into abundance. Think about it. There are people who win millions in the lottery and within a few years are bankrupt. Yet there are others who start with almost nothing, but because they manage their money wisely, they build empires. The difference is not luck, it is discipline. Discipline begins with budgeting. A budget is not punishment, it is freedom. It tells your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. But many people live without a plan, spending impulsively, hoping tomorrow will fix itself. That is a recipe for stress. If you cannot manage a small amount faithfully, you will never handle a larger one. Consider this. Financial experts report that nearly 70% of people who suddenly receive a large inheritance lose it within a decade. Why? Because their habits of waste, impulsiveness, and lack of structure devour the wealth. Money does not change who you are. It amplifies who you already are. If you are wasteful with $100, you will be wasteful with $100,000. Let me share a story. A young man worked a modest job, making just enough to survive. Instead of complaining about not having enough, he disciplined himself. He decided that no matter how small, he would save 10% of every paycheck. Another 10% he set aside to invest. He avoided unnecessary spending and learned to live below his means. Years later, while others who earned more than him were drowning in debt, he had built a small investment portfolio, bought a home, and had peace of mind. His secret was not a big salary. It was disciplined management. Another layer of discipline is distinguishing between needs and wants. Needs sustain you, wants entertain you. Many people confuse the two. They borrow money for luxuries, trying to look wealthy while sinking deeper into debt. True wealth is not about impressing people. It is about creating freedom and stability for your life and family. Also, discipline means eliminating debt wherever possible. Debt is a form of slavery. It ties your future to past decisions. Sometimes debt may be strategic, like borrowing for a business investment that multiplies income, but consumer debt, credit cards, impulsive loans is financial poison. The disciplined person resists the urge to spend money they don't yet have. Wealthy people live by this principle: pay yourself first. That means saving and investing a portion of your income before you spend on anything else. Poor people spend first and save what is left, but often nothing is left. Discipline flips the order: save and invest first, then spend. Another story: consider the difference between two friends. One earns $500 a month and spends $500. He drives a fancy car, wears expensive clothes, and takes trips on credit cards. The other earns $300 a month, but spends $200, saving and investing the rest. Fast forward 10 years. The first is drowning in debt, while the second is financially free. Discipline, not income, made the difference. Even in the world of business, discipline separates those who succeed from those who fail. Companies collapse not because they lacked revenue, but because they mismanaged cash flow. They overspent, ignored budgets, or failed to plan for crisis seasons. The same principle applies to your personal life. Here are some practical steps for disciplined money management. Track every expense for 1 month. You will be shocked at how small leaks drain your finances. Create a budget. Allocate money for needs, savings, investments, and giving before you spend on wants. Build an emergency fund. Aim for at least 3-6 months of expenses saved to protect yourself from sudden crises. Commit to continuous learning. Read books or attend seminars on financial management. Wealth follows wisdom. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is the bridge between your dreams and reality. Without it, wealth slips away. With it, wealth multiplies and stays. Always remember, wealth is not measured by what you spend, but by what you keep and grow. The undisciplined person spends to look rich. The disciplined person saves and invests to become rich. One lives in stress, the other in peace. So make a decision today. Refuse to be a slave to impulse. Refuse to live for show. Refuse to let money control you. Instead, take control of your money with discipline. That discipline will become your shield against money stress and your ladder into lasting wealth. The world often tells us that to become wealthy, you must hold on tightly to everything you get. Save every penny, never let anything go. Keep it all for yourself. But that mindset produces fear, not abundance. True wealth flows through generosity. When you open your hand to give, you open your life to receive. Generosity is not losing, it is sowing. A farmer does not cry when he puts seeds in the ground. Why? Because he knows he is not losing seeds. He is investing in a future harvest. Money works the same way. When you give, you activate a spiritual law that multiplies back into your life. There is a reason some of the wealthiest and happiest people on earth are also the most generous. Look at Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, who pledged billions to philanthropy. Look at businesses that set aside a portion of their profits to serve communities. They build loyalty, attract goodwill, and prosper more. Generosity is not just a moral principle, it is a wealth principle. Let me share a story. A small business owner struggled to keep his shop open. Sales were low and bills were high. One day, he heard a teaching about generosity and decided to test it. Even though money was tight, he committed to giving a percentage of every sale to support a local orphanage. At first, it felt impossible, but something shifted. Customers began returning, new opportunities opened, and his reputation grew. Within 2 years, his business doubled. The more he gave, the more doors opened. He realized generosity had unlocked a flow of provision that holding back never could. Here's the truth. Greed creates dams. Generosity creates rivers. A dam holds everything, but eventually stagnates. A river flows, giving and receiving, and never runs dry. Now, generosity is not only about money. You can give time, knowledge, encouragement, or service. But financial generosity is unique because money represents value and trust in society. When you release it with a generous heart, you prove that money does not own you. You own it. Generosity also destroys money stress. How? Because stress comes from fear. Fear that you won't have enough. But when you give, you declare, I live by abundance, not fear. I trust that more will come. That shift replaces anxiety with peace. You move from scarcity thinking to abundance thinking. Let's be practical. Many people say, I will give when I have more. But that is not generosity. That is convenience. Generosity is giving even when it feels small. If you cannot give $10 out of $100, you will never give $1,000 out of $10,000. Giving must be a discipline, not a random act. Here are a few simple practices to embrace generosity. Decide a giving percentage. For example, choose to give 5-10% of your income consistently, whether to charity, community work, or people in need. Give with joy, not guilt. Generosity should be an act of love, not obligation. Look for opportunities beyond money. Help someone with your skills, mentor a younger person, or volunteer. Remember that giving multiplies. What leaves your hand never leaves your life. It returns multiplied in different forms. Let's compare two mindsets. A man hoards everything, living in constant fear. Even though he has money, he is always stressed, always worried it will run out. Another man gives freely. His income grows steadily, and his heart is at peace. The difference is not just in their bank accounts. It is in their spirits. One of the most profound realities of life is this: the world gives more to those who give more. People are drawn to givers. Opportunities are opened to those who pour into others. Generosity attracts favor, and favor is more valuable than money itself. Even in families, the most generous parent often leaves the deepest legacy. The most generous neighbor is the most loved. The most generous leader is the most respected. Why should finances be any different? So, if you truly want to destroy money stress, start giving. It may not make sense mathematically, but spiritually and practically it works. You will discover that when you release money in generosity, money loses its grip on your heart, and wealth begins to flow more freely into your life. Never forget this. Holding keeps you where you are. Giving moves you where you need to go. Money does not move by itself. It moves through people. Every opportunity, every job, every business deal, every open door comes through a person. That means wealth is not just about what you know, but also about who you know and how you treat them. Some people spend their lives chasing money but neglect relationships. They burn bridges, compete instead of collaborate, and isolate themselves out of pride or fear. The result: they limit their opportunities. Others, however, understand that relationships are wealth. They invest in people, build trust, and surround themselves with the right networks. These are the ones who continuously attract opportunities and resources. Let me give you a simple example. A young man had a brilliant business idea, but no money to start. He could have given up. Instead, he built relationships. He volunteered, offered his skills to others, and connected with mentors. Over time, he gained the trust of a successful entrepreneur who later invested in his idea. That connection changed his life. Without relationships, his idea would have died. With relationships, his idea became a reality. This principle is everywhere. Look at the most successful businesses today. Apple, Google, Amazon, all of them grew not just because of one person's vision, but because of partnerships, teams, and networks. Even the wealthiest individuals cannot succeed alone. Wealth multiplies when people connect their gifts, skills, and resources. Relationships also provide access to knowledge and wisdom. You may not have experience in a certain area, but through a network, you can access someone who does. A single conversation with the right person can save you years of mistakes. This is why mentorship is one of the most valuable forms of wealth. But here's the key. Relationships must be genuine, not transactional. People can sense when you only want them for what they can give you. True networking is not about manipulation. It's about adding value. When you serve others, when you bring encouragement, when you contribute your gifts, people naturally want to support and open doors for you. Consider this contrast. One man spends his life asking, "What can I get from others?" Another spends his life asking, "What can I give to others?" The first man repels opportunities because he drains people. The second attracts opportunities because he refreshes people. Which one do you think builds wealth? There's also the law of association. You become like the people you spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with complainers, you will complain. If you surround yourself with dreamers, you will dream bigger. If you surround yourself with disciplined, successful people, you will rise to their level. Your network shapes your net worth. Here's a story to illustrate. A young woman grew up in a community where everyone lived paycheck to paycheck. She loved her friends, but noticed their conversations were always about struggle, blame, and survival. She made a bold decision. She didn't abandon her friends, but she sought out a new circle on entrepreneurs, investors, and visionaries. At first, she felt out of place, but over time her mindset expanded. She started a side business, learned how to invest, and within years, her financial situation changed drastically. Her environment lifted her higher. To build powerful relationships and networks, here are some practical steps. Invest in people, not just in money. Show genuine care, encouragement, and support. Seek mentorship. Find people ahead of you in life and learn from their journey. Be generous with your skills. Offer value without always expecting something in return. Choose your circle wisely. Surround yourself with people who inspire growth, not drain it. Collaborate instead of competing. Partnership often produces greater results than going alone. Remember this. A single relationship can open a door that years of hard work cannot. One introduction can change your financial destiny. One mentor can save you decades of trial and error. That's why wealthy people guard their relationships carefully. They know the true currency of wealth is trust. If you are serious about attracting wealth and destroying money stress, stop trying to do everything alone. Build bridges, not walls. Invest in people. Protect your reputation with integrity, and never forget, wealth flows through relationships.